Hello, everybody. I'm Larry LeFury for WCTV, the all-volunteer access group from the Township of Washington. And today we're going to have the recap of the 2020 Bergen County Jamboree. And helping me is the food guru of WCTV, who was at all the games, Brian Carr. And there we go. They get the little beep beep, Brian. And before we start, everyone at WCTV, myself, and speaking for my partner, John Francola, want to thank you and Bobby for getting to the semifinals and finals. What happened was when we, back in the early spring, John and I and some of the people at WCTV, we made plans to be away the end of February because the last 10 years, Jamboree always ended sometime around the 23rd, 24th of February. But because of the leap year or the calendar, everything got pushed back a week. And everybody at WCTV was away for vacation or they have family obligations, so we couldn't cover it as we usually have done over the last 27 years. But you and Bobby Maines, the great Brian Carr and Bobby went to the semifinals. John was with you for the semis and the finals, and you covered it for WCTV. That means you are now a full-fledged member of WCTV. Give up your food job and come with us.
Come work here. Yeah, hey, but we did a game, remember the Westwood game, you and I, John was away. So you and I did that game. Westwood basketball was the girls and boys that day. So I got my first chance to be on the air here at WCTV.
So you're moving in. And we really want to thank you for what you did and all the work you put into this to recap all these games. There was 3 games, 3 very hard-fought games. We're going to talk about it, recap it. This was the 64th Jamboree. And it was a classic, and the final was really a big one. Bobby told me that he went home with a headache. It was so noisy. But let's go back to Hackensack, and we'll explain why the game was at Hackensack. FDU had their ISIS arena was being used by their basketball team with a Stratus Arena, yeah. The Stratus Arena was being used by the men's and women's basketball program the entire weekend. So the Jamboree committee, knowing this, had to make a move, get the semis out, and they went to Hackensack where the semis were played. So tell us about the semis.
So we had 2 games on Saturday. It was 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock start. The first game was really exciting. We had you had Joe's playing Bosco, 2 rivals, really good game. And that game, it went back and forth. It was like whoever won each quarter. We had Bosco win the first quarter, Joe's wins the second, and Bosco came back and won the third, and then Joe's ended up winning the game and by winning the fourth quarter. So it was an exciting game, back and forth, good entertainment, and then so the final score there was 73-64, as you see on the screen there. As I was mentioning, you could see St. Joe's there in the second quarter. In the fourth quarter, outscored Bosco, and that was the key to winning the game. Obviously, fourth quarter they won, outscored them 22-15.
Now, John always talks about, and when he does the game, he talks about the defense of St. Joe's. Was the defense of St. Joe's just too much for Bosco, or was Bosco just missing their shots?
Yeah, I think that, like in the final as well, what we saw with Bergen and Joe's, it's a matter of making your shots. The kids, when Joe's was able to make the plays and score, that whereas Bosco couldn't score. They just weren't able to get those shots to make the scores. They both had their chances, but they weren't able to score. So it's just a matter of who executes. We even saw it in the final where you had 2 good teams with 2 sets of good guards. It's anybody's game. It's anybody's game here. So on the other half of this bracket, you had Bergen playing Ramsey. It was good to see a public school in there. Ramsey was just a little outmatched. Too much guard play on behalf of Bergen. As you can see here, it was over early. Bergen went out to a 20-6 start, and then at halftime it was 33-16. And Ramsey had a good third quarter to kind of bring it a little close, but that really couldn't make a difference. So it was a really good game on behalf of Bergen, just controlling and doing what they needed to do to get to the final.
Yeah, you notice that when Bergen Catholic's MO is they jump out ahead, and then it's almost impossible to catch them because of their athleticism, and a 20-6 lead at the quarter just about sealed it. You never want to say that, but when you play Bergen, you can't let them get out too much in front of you.
And then Bobby and I even said that before the final. Bobby and I were mentioning, because looking at the stats and the scores, Bergen, I just did a little summary here, Bergen outscored their opponents before the final by 26 points. That was a point differential. Whereas Joe's played tighter games, and they only won by a difference of 9. So, they played two different, games. Bergen had a little easier, we'll say, was able to, score a lot of points and win easy, whereas Joe's played the tougher games. And that may have helped him in the final by playing those tougher games earlier in the tournament and to come into the final.
And Hackensack was a good venue. They provided a good venue for
Hackensack was good. We were there early, as we always do. We get there. We were there a couple hours early. John and Bobby and I, we all went down together. We met. Hackensack was a nice facility. The Jambo folks were all there. Everybody, they do all their work. They were pretty busy running around, with their signs to identify the home team, the visitors, where they sit. But the venue was really good. No problems. It went quick. 2 quick games, very fast. But.
Right. And also the Bergen County Coach Association, the Jamboree Committee, would like to thank the staff for the athletic departments of Bergen Catholic, Hackensack, Indian Hills, Northern Highlands, Tenafly, Westwood High School. Those were the schools where the first round began way back in early February. Right. And then, of course, you have Fairleigh Dickinson University, where the quarters and finals were played. The semis were sent to Hackensack, and they, as Paul Pugliese said a couple of times on this show and talked to us about it, they were very gracious in opening up their school for the semifinal. They needed a school like Hackensack for the number of people that would come, and I heard they had close to 2,000 people there.
Yeah, that's good. That was a good event. I mean, we should talking about Fairleigh Dickinson, we should thank our friend Mark Fisco. Mark Fisco, everybody knows Mark Fisco, but Mark works security there, has security for Fairleigh, and Mark's always gracious to us, and make sure we all get into the games before you come right in. Mark sees us, oh yeah, you guys, except
Mark's
for Brian.
Mark is a great guy.
But Mark's a great guy. He's from Dumont as well.
He's from Dumont?
Dumont guy. He lives in Dumont now. He was working in Teaneck for a long time.
He was a Teaneck police officer.
Teaneck High School, he worked there for a long time. He was a detective in Teaneck.
Yes.
Then he worked at Teaneck High School for a long time.
Right.
And now he works over at Fairleigh Dickinson.
Mark's a good man. We miss him. We see him a couple of times a year,
right.
But it's like seeing a close friend. He discuss what went on and goes on. They treat us, WCTV, very well. So, Mark, I know you watch these shows. Thank you so very much. And listen, next February is coming real quick. These days, they go by fast. So now that's over. You had a week to sit back. Did you talk about the finals? Now, you, myself, and John, didn't we go up to St. Joe's and watch Bergen play St. Joe's?
I didn't go with you. You guys went.
It was just me and John and Bobby.
Bobby, right.
Bobby, we went up there. Yeah. Bobby Maines.
Right.
We went up there, and I remember sitting in the stands. The place was packed, and I remember telling Bobby and John, there's a very good, I don't make, 100%. I said, we could be watching the Jambo final here, right. Up there. And that was a close, hard-fought, intensive. The crowd at St. Joe's is on top. Small. It's not like at FDU where the crowd goes up and fall. The crowd's right on top of the kids. That was an intensive game, and I said to John, that could be, one could play two. I mean, you had Bosco in there, you had Hackensack, even at Paramus Catholic, who beat a couple of the top teams. I said, this could be the final. And then when you called and gave me the little word, it was going to be Joe's Bergen, I said, woof.
Well, they got the seedings right? So
yes,
you had the number
did.
1 and 2 seeds, so good job by the committee getting the 2 top seeds to be. They ended up being in the final. So they did a good job of selecting. It was really the top 4 teams
in the
semifinals. So you had 1 through 4 in the semis. As you could see there, the top 4 teams ended up in the semifinal. And then at the end, in the final, the top 1 and 2 teams became the final teams.
They did a great job. You've had a couple of upsets where a higher seed won, but that was like a 9 and a 10 and a 15 and a 4, like that. But once they cleared the smoke, cut away,
right.
The way they seeded them, as you see here, here's how it all worked out. It did fairly well. I mean, they did a great job. And then you look at 1 to 4, and they were 1 to 4. They were legit. Now, we've had them here, the Jamboree Committee. We had Paul Pugliese. We had Rookie Corcoran here. And they see a lot of basketball games from around the 20th of December until seeding time, the end of January. They're out watching teams multiple times. And then they sit around and talk, and they have notes.
Right.
And I think they just don't, flip a coin or say, I think. They know,
seen it, right.
And they did a great job.
One other thing there, Pascack Hills, that was an upset. They beat Ramapo. That was a 9-8. Pascack Hills, who ended up playing Bergen and, had a good game against Bergen. though undermanned compared to Bergen. But Pascack Hills, it was a good team. Now they only have 3 losses.
Right.
They're one of the top teams in Bergen County.
Yeah,
now.
the public schools did very well. You're talking about the Hills team and Ramsey. They're going to they make a lot of noise with the states that are starting today, basically.
Those 2 could be in the final in Group 2.
Right.
They're both in Group 2, and that's likely to be the final of Group 2. They've played each other. They split their conference. I think it's BC, or it's the Big North American. Big North American used to be BCSL, but it's Big North American. They have they co-shared the championship, the 2 of them. So but that could be your final in the Group 2.
They well coached both teams. They've been in the Jamboree. They played well. They just didn't have enough of that talent that the Bergens and the Boscos and the Joes have, that they can go up against them. But they could be, on a given day, they're talented enough to beat them. That's why you go watch it.
Last week, before the Jamboree final, Joe's lost to Pascack Hills.
There you go.
So, and that's a battle of Montvale right there. So Pascack Hills did beat Joe. Any given day, like you say.
What did Chris Berman say? That's why we played the game.
Yeah.
You played the game to go there and see these games and say, I was there when this happened, this upset took place, this kid hit a shot, this Dvorak, what was the kid from Kreskill who hit the shot to beat Hackensack, Denovic? I forgot his last name. He hit a shot in the corner about 4 or 5 years ago, and Kreskill won, and the entire school was they were high all week.
Well, I think it's his brother now is playing. I forget it. Luca. It was Luca, and his brother, Kreskill. Luka Radovic, I think it's Luka Radovic.
There you go.
His brother now is
the
playing.
Names come eventually.
So Luka graduated, and his younger brother was a senior for Kreskill this year. And they had a good game. We saw them play in Tenafly, right, was it against Joe's?
Yes.
Against Joe's. They played a very good game. Joe's got ahead by about 20, and they got it close. They came back and they didn't quit.
We want, Radovic. You go to these games because you're looking for that one shot by a Radovic to say, you beat the big, you knock the big team off. So everyone goes, looks for a great game, and there's a chance that you lose. So now you show up on, now it's Saturday.
No,
it's
Friday night.
Friday night at 5 o'clock. You and Bobby stroll into the Rotman Center, Stratus Arena. Right?
And Mark greets us.
Mark greets you, shakes your hand,
greets us,
and says, "Who are you?
What do you guys want? What are you guys here for?
You part of the maintenance crew?"
Yeah, we're here to sweep the floors for you guys. We got to help some way, right? We got to help, get our keep because we had good front row seats there, so we got to help out.
I think we have a clip of you and Bobby walking in. I'm very proud of you and Bobby.
We were sitting down. I think that's the video you have us sitting down, and we just took a little quick video. Here you go.
We are Bergen County Tournament. We're the WCTV representatives of the tournament. Bobby Maines. What's up, Bob?
Hey, how are you?
Good. We wish Larry and John were here.
John are family commitments. They're family commitments tonight, so they can't be here.
Right.
We're taking over for them.
So we got number 1 seed Bergen Catholic against number 2 seed St. Joe's.
St. Joe's, right. Should be a good game. St. Joe's starts off fast. It could be a long night for Bergen Catholic. I'm calling John Francola.
John, you got to be careful. Like we heard from a coach, if Bergen gets ahead, they can stay ahead and they can win it. So it should be fun. All right.
We'll talk.
Good crowd. See you later.
In my seat.
No, we couldn't touch your seat. We stayed away from it. It's too hot. Your seat. We know. We wanted to put a coat on there to represent you and John, but it was a very busy night there. The crowd was a large press following that night. A lot of the Jamboree people were all in press row. So it was a very popular. You can see another video here how this was warm-ups in the game. And there was a good crowd there early. You can see there a press row. So
wow,
it was hard to get a chair. We had to go and grab another chair, an extra chair to go, help out some of our fellow people at press row.
There's Pete DeFalco who does the signing. Yeah,
it's Mike Harris from The Record. Really good photographer there, Mike. We like Mike a lot. He takes a lot of pictures. Him and his wife. And there's Bobby Maines.
Bobby, he's sitting in my seat.
No.
So this is part. I guess this is part of the game that
this is late in the game here. This is at the end. We could talk about that a little later. This is late in the game at this point. Joe's is up by probably about 5 points at that time, and what it really was, the end of the game came down to is Joe was making
Okay.
free throws, but that's a little later in the game now.
All right, let's start. The game starts. Crowd is into it, and Bergen has their MO. They pull out, and they start to pull away from St. Joe's. I think sometime during the night you text me, the score was 35-23, something like that, that Bergen was winning.
That was later that was into halftime. So halftime, you mentioned halftime. Halftime score was 33-30, as you see up on the board. But the game started off early, and you see in the first quarter, both teams were hot. Both teams were making their shots. Joe's led at 18-17, but both teams were playing very well there in the first quarter.
But I want to make the point that somewhere in the second quarter, if I remember right, my memory holds, Bergen had a fairly decent lead over St. Joe's. Toward the end of the second quarter, 35-23, 35-25.
Well, they were up, it's maybe a 33-25.
Right.
It was 31-25.
Right, and then,
so they had
then Bergen went completely cold.
They got a little close. Yeah, it was for about 3 minutes to end out the half. They didn't score. And then Joe's just brought it close, got it to 3. And so at halftime, we had 33-30.
So
got a good game. Anybody's game at this point.
So if someone who's not there, and the people who are not there would try to paint the picture for them, it was a 33-25, and all of a sudden, either through great defense or they're not hitting their shot, Bergen went cold the last part of the second quarter, and St. Joe's was able to catch them within a 3-point margin at halftime.
Yeah, so they basically scored 5 points. They got 5 points to end the half to get it to within 3.
Okay,
They
now
really nailed it.
if Ricky could put up that board again of scores, we'll go to the third quarter. It's my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, St. Joe's is an 18-9 winner in the third quarter. We're going to break these down into quarters.
Right.
That's how we do it.
So here's the key to the third quarter. Joe's comes out, scores the first 10 points.
There you go.
They were hot. They were scoring. The center, Alamore, he scored 3. Ansley had 2 3-pointers. Big difference there. That's quick 6. The other guy who did really well for them, Daniel Lands, scored 5 points. He had a 3 as well. So they were hitting their shots. Nazir Williams, who's their leading scorer of the game, he was quiet in that quarter. He only had basically 5 points in the quarter, but he comes on and helps him out in the third and the fourth.
They do have people there, kids there, that can step up other than Williams, who can contribute quality minutes and quality points. The names that you just mentioned, Alamar and Lands, they can contribute. We've seen that over the year, how they can do that. And the third quarter, so we're looking at the last 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes of the second quarter, and the first 3-4 minutes of the third quarter. There's where the game changed in Joe's favor.
Yeah, and Joe stayed up running late into the third quarter. Stayed up late. They were up 48-39. Bergen was able to get a shot by their star sophomore, Richardson. Their star, he was able to shoot a 3 right at the end. I don't know if we have the video here or not, but he hit a 3-pointer at the end of the quarter. That brought the score to 48-42. I don't know if we have that here.
Yeah, they're looking for it high. Here we go.
Here it is. Here it is.
There it is right there.
Yeah.
So he hits that, and that 3-pointer narrowed the gap.
Right, there you go. And there's your score.
There it is. So, that's the end of 3, 48-42, right?
So we still have a good game here.
Oh, yeah.
Still have a really close game. You know, Joe's got out at a 10-point run, up by 9. Now we get that 3 to kind of bring it down. Now it's only 6. So it's, anybody's game at this point. And then in the fourth quarter became a kind of a little bit back and forth.
Now, what about the crowd? Before we get to the fourth quarter, the crowd.
The crowd, well, I mean, we have pictures. You saw the picture of the crowd. The crowd, the place is packed. The crowd was into it. I think the crowd fed on the momentum. The kids are into it now. We have a very close game, 6 points lead by Joe. So this is the video. We kind of saw this before. You could see the crowd. It's only a few points. It's about 5-point difference here at this point. I think we may see the clock here in a second. But you see the nice Joe's crowd at that one end. They were into it. I don't know if we see the scoreboard. Usually I try to get the scoreboard, and whenever I do it here, just to kind of give us a perspective on where we are. Maybe I didn't get it here.
Yeah, I could just see that where.
You can see the crowd. Look at the crowd. You got a full crowd here. This is late. And what you have here, too, is you have their high scorer. Nazir Williams here ends up with 26 points. He's on the line there. Nazir had basically 6 foul shots, free throw shots. They hit 9 of 12 free throws in that fourth quarter. To really, if they didn't hit their shots, the game would have been a lot closer. But they were able to hit their foul shots because they were getting fouled. Bergen's trying to get back in the game. They know they needed the foul to kind of lengthen the game to give themselves a chance to come back. But Joe's was able to make their foul shots and really keep Bergen from getting back in the game.
Yeah, it sounds to me it was St. Joe's defense really working the way they do, preventing the shots, cutting off passes in the lanes, doing all the little things to prevent Bergen from running their offense. And if the court is larger, so it's going to be a little more difficult for St. Joe's to do it. But they pulled it off. They were able to do it.
Right. I mean, one of the things, too, Bergen had a little difficulty at the foul line. So Bergen was a little over 50% on the foul line. If they could have matched Joe's with free throws, Joe's like 73% free throw shooting, we're talking 5 points right there. Now we have a 6-point difference. It was a 6-point difference in the final. Now you have 1 point. So then it's anybody's game. So, these are kids. They're not going to make every shot. There's a lot of pressure, a lot of, when you look at the score sheet too, both teams basically played 6 guys. That's it.
That's it.
So most of their players play the whole time. So, no excuses. I'm sure the coach is not going to let you give out excuses like kids are tired, but they're working hard. They're playing the whole game. Comes down to the end, your arms maybe get a little tired, and you're trying to get those shots up. You miss some free throws at the end.
And they pulled it off. St. Joe's. Now this is Mike Doherty's second win as a coach at the Jamboree. He won it as a player back in the mid '80s, late '80s. So Mike is very successful in the Jamboree, and he had a couple of nice things to say, huh?
Yeah, you could see, he was very happy. He thinks it's a very important tournament. I mean, himself, he played in it. He thinks it's very big for the kids to get to play in this game. He respects the game. This is a great tournament. He played in it. He's won it as a coach. He's very pleased. I mean, obviously he won this game, but it's good for the kids to play in this kind of competition because now it's getting ready because now you're going to continue on and you want to win a state championship too. It's great to win this. It's a trophy. Now you go on to play the next one.
Now let's look at Bergen Catholic with Billy Armstrong. He played in the Jamboree and won, and we did the game. We have him winning the championship, and he's won it multiple times as a coach. So what you had here was you had 2 teams who have proud tradition in Bergen County basketball. You have 2 teams that have coaches that played in the Jamboree, so they know what it means to play in it because they played and were successful. Now they're coaches and they're winning it. And when you ask them, they say, this is so important, this Jamboree to the program and to me. It's a soft spot for them. I never asked the question. Nobody, people calling you in the middle of the show. This is impossible. No,
I was at the show.
You're getting a food order. That's what it is.
No, that was some other. I heard a sound here. There was some sound here.
I've never asked a coach. I don't have the. I don't know. Maybe I'll call it guts. What would they prefer? A state or a county? And you're talking about baseball, basketball, or football. Is not. They don't have county games. Hockey. What would you rather have?
But I think about Joe's though. Joe's has only won 4 titles, Bergen County titles. On the other hand, Bergen's won 10. So I think it's important. It's important for both. But I think Joe's having not won as many. I think it's big for them. You've won 4. You want to catch up. You want to keep up with your competitors. Your competitors are Bergen, Bosco. So it's all about competing at that level.
Think about St. Joe's, how they're moving along. They winning championships in football and basketball, and they did well in baseball. They're doing very well. St. Joe's quietly are winning championships, winning county tournaments up there at Montvale. They're putting a great sports program together up there.
A lot of good coaches there too. A lot of good coaches throughout. You had football coaches there. They have on the sideline in their basketball team. You have a football coach and a basketball coach. So it's, you've got a lot of coaches. There's Al Gavin. I don't know if you know Al Gavin is one of the football coaches. He's involved with basketball as well. So you see a lot of their coaches that are very involved with the program. They're very involved with multiple sports, not just their own sport. their main sport. You know, you think most coaches, the football guys, they're all about football.
Yeah.
But here, you know, you have a baseball coach, Mark Slezak, right? Mark Slezak is the baseball coach. He's also on the football. He's one of the assistant coaches on the basketball team. So you have these coaches coaching other sports, and hopefully they can recruit kids. We talk about that in other schools, public schools. You want to recruit your kids. So, you know, if you have a good basketball player who could also be a football player, you want to get him on the football team. So you're always looking at, like Dumont. I'm a Dumont guy, right? You guys know Dumont Westwood plays, and you've got the big basketball player from Dumont, Don Barlow.
Don Barlow.
He played football, and he's a really good basketball player. You know, the football team.
He really is a good basketball player.
Right, he's a good basketball. The football team wants to play football too because
they do?
Yeah, they want him. I'm sure Coach Bird wants him back, and we won't talk too much about that here because he wouldn't like us talking about that here. But I'm sure he wants him to be on the team to help the football team.
That kid's talking about basketball. That Barlow is going to be. People may not know the name now, but come December, January, you're going to hear a lot about Dominic Barlow and the Huskies. So the 64th is over. It's in the books. It was a great game. Bergen, St. Joe's, and you know what? You look forward to it again. I heard that the Don Bosco freshman team won that tournament.
They won, yeah, over they won the junior. They call it junior jambo, I think they call it.
No, well,
it's the freshman.
It's
the freshman.
Yeah,
it was up at Joe's, right? And they won it. It was after the BIT.
Northern Highlands won.
Northern
the
Highlands beat. That was Cliffside Park. They beat Cliffside Park in the BIT.
Good.
And
good
then,
for
it was good for Bosco to come out and to win that for the kids in the program.
Yeah, Joe Del Buono, he wants that.
Oh, last thing, there's Bobby and I.
You got your shirts.
Yeah, we have some North Jersey sports shirts on there. So we're
Corey Doviak.
Corey Doviak. We thank Corey for that. We help out Corey, do a lot of tweets and a lot of social media for Corey out there. So Bobby and I, we thank Corey for those shirts. That's his Fat Daddy shirts, his Fat Daddy tee. He's working on a brand he sells, Fat Daddy tee, and he gave us those shirts to wear. We wore them at Press Row during the game. Yeah.
So it all started right here. I mean, it started for the committee back in December 20th when the first games were played, but it all started right here on this set for the preview with the Paul Pluglis and rookie Corcoran. They went through the 24 teams that the Coaches Association and the Jamboree decided they would have 24 teams, and people held their breath. Would Bosco even make it? Because they didn't have a 650, and if they had 24 teams with 650, maybe Bosco doesn't make it. I never asked that question. A few questions I really don't want. I don't want to. But it's possible they may have had to make an exemption or whatever. But they got the 24 teams in.
They got the right teams.
There we go.
Yeah.
They got those 24 teams in.
You could see Bosco deserved to be there.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they got
the strength of schedule that they play.
Yeah.
And they, like we said earlier, right? You had the top 4 teams.
And then you got teams like Bedland and Midland Park and St. Mary's. These teams got into the Jamboree. They played. They played on
was very good. We saw them at Bergen Catholic. Beckton was very good.
Yeah.
The 22nd seed. Yeah. Really, really good team. I forget the one guy's name. The one player, the leading scorer, was really solid.
And Garfield got in, and they had a nice team. We saw them win.
Garfield was tough. Right? We saw them.
Mawa won. You guys in Dumont, you guys, something happened there.
Dumont, Garfield played them tough.
Yeah,
they played them tough inside. They have 2 big guys.
They matched up very well. Twymara, Richfield Park won their first game. Chris Gaskin, we had him on the show here. They played very well.
They're also a very good, tough team. Play very physical, Richfield Park, and they have some good athletes too.
Pascack Hills.
Hills,
that team, Kirkby put a program together. Now the other coaches came in. Mike O'Brien is there, and they have a system. They follow the system, and they play well all the time.
Pascack Hills 25-3 is their record. So they're really a good team.
Paramus Catholic, Mike Dodo, he was our special guest for the preview show with a couple of his players. They played very well.
Bueno is really good. I forget his first name. Dominic? Is it Dominic Bueno?
Bueno. I feel it's Richard Bueno.
He's the center. Bueno, he's really good.
Going to hear from him. So Barlow and Bueno, you're going to hear the double Bs next year.
Right.
The busy Bs next year. Then, of course, you have Ramsey with Sean Hansen. What a nice player. They get into the States. You're going to hear a lot about that. And then, of course, the top 3, Bergen, Joe's, and Bosco, they put on a show. And they did a great job. And the committee should be commended. I mean, when you put the amount of work, man hours that they did, the entire committee put together the work that they did starting December 20th and going to somewhere around the 28th of January where they're out every night scouting different teams. Multiple times they want to see a team.
Well, they still go. They were still going even when the Jamboree, the last week of the Jamboree, they were still out at games.
Now, over the years, the Bergen County Coach Association and the Bergen County has given over $250,000 in scholarship aid to participating athletes through admission fees collected at tournaments, entry fees, and fundraising activities. The BCCA gives back to those who have given so much to enrich the Bergen County girls and boys athletic program. Every dime that's collected over the past month, the month of February in the Jamboree, that money is then given to the coaches and they're given out in scholarship. Very little is kept. They just might need a few dollars to buy a couple of things, and I'm sure sometimes they won't mention, I'm sure they put their hands in their pocket and take money out of their pocket to fund something that's small. But all the money goes into scholarships. That's important. I'm happy that come up so we could mention that all this money is done through scholarship.
Hey, one other thing we should mention, they have the Bullerman Award.
Right.
The Bullerman Award, and Doug Yenny,
Yes,
who was a coach at Bergen Community College. He was a basketball coach and a golf coach. I had him as an instructor. He was our golf teacher when I took a golf class. You had to take a class, sports class or music. I took a golf class, and Coach Yenny was my teacher back then. This is going back a few years, but congratulations to Coach Yenny.
Yeah.
Great guy.
I saw
He
that.
also ran the Pioneer Junior Tour. It's a golf tournament for the young kids in the summertime. He developed that. I think it still exists. It may be losing some momentum, but he developed that back, and I used to help him donate some drinks and things for the kids back in like the 90s. Used to get him some drinks for the event. So
You've been pushing food since the 90s?
yeah, all my life I've been selling food. Yeah. You want to talk about some things we're selling today? Look at this.
This is
One of our sponsors. One of my company I work for. It's called the Run-A-Ton Group, and we make a brand called Wholly Gluten Free. You can find this in Wegmans. Wegmans carries it. ShopRite, King's. These are some other products too. We have a brand called Metaball.
Hold still.
Metaball is another brand of products that we sell.
Now, what's the name of your company?
The company's called the Run-A-Ton Group, and these are some of the products. It's not my company. I work for the company, but it's called Metaball, and then there's gluten-free brownies.
I thought you had your own company.
Well, we do, but we represent other brands.
So what's the name of your company?
Our company is called the Food Guru, New York, New Jersey Food Guru. It was a company, my wife created the name, and we use that for our company, but we represent other people's product for them. We have a new line we're coming out with. These are
This is a new line?
new line.
What's
it's
this- what's
like
this
a
called?
bonbon,
A bonbon.
and it's a chocolate-covered caramel.
Chocolate-covered
We're
caramel.
working on this now. It's made in Chicago, and we're going to launch it next week at a show. We're at a show next week called the Natural Products Expo West in Anaheim.
Can we get this around here? Can we?
We'll get you here at the office. Now we have to get the local stores around here to carry it too.
Yeah.
The Food Town across the street, the ShopRite's down the street.
This is Brian, the guru, food guru's chocolate. I'm going to give you a taste and give you and give you what I think, because I love this kind of candy. I'll give it from 0 to 5.
Okay.
You try this.
He's going to give it a 10.
I can't give you a 10. I don't cheat. This is very good. Very good.
Let's get a 5.
So now are you going on business trip now? You finished with
So
the Jamboree?
we leave tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, my wife and I will travel to Anaheim
A business?
on business.
Well, this is good.
Yeah. And then we do a little work next week, and then we go visit our son in Arizona for a few days.
We gotta get off the air, because what's gonna happen? Ida's gonna come and take these from us. There's one. Fred, you want one, Fred? Here we go. Fred, you want one? Here we
Fred
go.
here,
Here we go.
Emily,
Energy bars. You're
and
gonna need
Ida.
it. There, take one. What do we
Ricky in
got
the
here?
back.
Emily, you want a bar? Emily, you want to here? Take a bar. Throw. Here we go. Catch. Ricky, you want a bar? Come on out. I throw a bar to you. Come on, let's go.
Hey, thanks
You
for
got Shane
thanks
in
for
there?
having me here.
Wait,
Thanks
we
for
got
having
more
me.
to go. We're not finished
You got
with
more
you.
to do here?
Where's Ricky? Here we go. Get close with the guy. There you go. The bombs. We're eating. Everybody's eating bombs. All right. Thank you very much. Well, the Jamboree's over. The 64th Jamboree's over. The 65th, they'll get ready. I think they're starting already
Now.
and talking about next year. They do work all year. They get ready for the 65th. All of us at WCTV, all the members, Fred and Ida, Emily, Shane, Ricky, John Francola,
Bobby
Lou,
Maines. Let's not forget Bobby Maines.
Well, I can't say Bobby Maines. We want to thank you and Bobby for going to the games and covering it the way you did and give us an overview of the finals and the semifinals. I want to thank you for doing that. You did a great job.
Thank you.
After this year, you're fired because we're going back.
In case, unless Larry can't make it or John can't make it, I'll fill in.
No, I told you next year, the month of February, my wife knows,
Blackout.
make no plans. In fact, don't even see me. You won't even see me. I'm going to be busy covering the basketball games.
Okay.
So I want to thank you again, the great Brian Carr.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
So we hope you enjoyed these shows. We tried to do wrap-up shows every week to give you an idea what was going on. And Brian had to come and do the yeoman work. This job and this production is all him and Bobby Maines. And I want to thank my two dear friends for helping us here at WCTV. So for the entire gang that's been working on the Jamboree and for shows, watch our website. You'll see what our other shows will be coming up the month of March and April and May. We're doing live shows here on Exit 168. So for Fred and Ida, Emily, Ricky, who's got the last, we got to give one for Shane. Ricky and Shane, want to thank them all for your help. So for the entire crew here, for the Bergen County Jamboree Committee, Larry LaFury, saying thank you, good night, and we'll see you again on 168.